your turn. Good morning, everyone. My name is Carl Drake, and I'm a member of this church. I wish a warm welcome to all of our visitors this morning. We encourage you to join us after the service for coffee in the atrium. We have red mugs reserved for newcomers so that we can easily identify and get to know you better. Since 1858, UU Wausau has been a vital voice for liberal religion in central Wisconsin. We're an intentionally free and inclusive community that welcomes everyone, regardless of age, sexual orientation, ethnicity, or economic status. Wherever you are on life's journey, you belong here. Between Sundays, we invite you to participate in our events and classes during the week. Be sure to subscribe to the church's newsletter and follow us on Facebook or Instagram for updates. I have a few announcements. All I have to do is find them. Here we go. Announcements for September 28th. Monthly community potluck. You were invited to our monthly community potluck lunch on Saturday, October 5th at 11:30 a.m. Bring a dish to share, join friends and neighbors for a wonderful time of food, fellowship, and community spirit. This month's gathering will be hosted by our music director, Margaret Jers, and the UU Choir, carrying forward this beloved tradition. Second Friday Nighters. Join UUs and friends on Friday, October 10th. 6 to 8 p.m. at the home of Dawn Aschenbrenner, she's right out there, and Salim Surti. Beverages are provided. Please bring a snack, appetizer, or dessert to share. Please note there is a cat in the home. Second Friday Nighters is a beloved UU tradition for fellowship held either in church or at members' homes. For the address, or if you'd like to host a Second Friday Nighters, please reference the Circuit Rider newsletter or contact the church office. Lost and found. If you think you've left something here in church or someone, please bring a check to Lost and Found box located above the coat racks in the church. All unclaimed items will be donated after December 1. Going forward, the Lost and Found will be checked at the end of each quarter, and any remaining items will be donated at that time. Please be sure to check regularly and claim what's yours. As we begin our worship, let us take a moment to extend peace and blessings to one another. Please rise and greet your neighbors. Say again?
You're the only other person up here, so I'm just going to shake your hand.
How are you?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm good. Are you done with high school now?
Yeah, I have been since 2024.
Have you? Are you going to school further?
Yep.
Where?
NTC.
Good for you. It's a good place. I sometimes have to call the halt to the joy.
I know.
They're okay.
These things are always
Well, they love to talk, you know, they'll never stop.
sure. They're UUs.
Absolutely right.
We gotta make our schedules.
Yeah. Now, dear friends, let us gather our hearts and minds for worship. Please join me in reciting the chalice lighting words. We light this chalice for the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the fire of commitment. We light this symbol of our faith as we gather together. Please join us as you are able in the opening hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit.
Good morning. My name is Rowan, and the story I will be reading for you today is called Love. In the beginning, there is light, and two wide-eyed figures standing near the foot of your bed, and the sound of their voice is love. A cab driver plays love softly on his radio while you bounce in the back with bumps of the city, and everything smells new. It smells like life. Love, too, is the smell of crashing waves and a train whistling blindly in the distance, and each night in the sky above your trailer turns the color of love. In a crowded concrete park, you toddle towards summer sprinklers while older kids skip rope and run up the slide, and soon you are running among them, and the echo of your laughter is love. On the night the fire alarm blares and you're pulled from sweep and whisked into the street, where a quiet old lady is pointing to the sky, stars shine long after they've been flamed out, she tells you, and they shine. The shine is love. But it's not only stars that flame out, you discover. It's summers too, and friendship, and people. One day you find yourself your family nervously huddled around the TV, and when you ask what's happened, the answer is silence and shift between you and the screen. In your dream that night, you are searching for love that seems lost. You open and close drawers, lift cushions, empty old toy bins, but there's nothing. You wake with a start in the arms of a loved one who bends to your ears and whispers, "It's okay. It's okay. It's love." And in time you recognize a love overlooked, a love that wakes at dawn and rides to work on the bus, a slice of burnt toast that tastes like love. And in love is each deep crease of your grandfather's face as he lowers himself onto an overturned bucket to fish. And in its love, the rustling of leaves of gnarled trees lined behind the flower fields. And its love is the made-up stories your uncle tells in the backyard between wild horseshoe throws. And the man in rags outside the subway station playing love notes that lift into the sky like tiny beacons of light. And the face that's staring back in the bathroom mirror. This, too, is love. So when the time comes for you to set off on your own, heavy winds will sweep past your building and the great gray clouds will congregate above. Your loved ones will stand there like puddles beneath their umbrellas, holding you tight and kissing you and wishing you luck. But it won't be luck you'll leave with, because you'll have love. You'll have love, love, love. The end. Oop, my papers went flying. Children in pre-K through 5th grade are invited downstairs for children's RE. Youth in 6th to 12th grade are invited upstairs for youth RE. And whether you're going to RE or staying in the sanctuary, I invite you to join the blessing each other with our children's song. The words are printed in your order of service. Thank you.
Let us enter into a time of meditation and prayer. O infinite and eternal Spirit of life, generous and abundant Creator, gracious and merciful God, we know you by many names as the love that binds us one to the other. And as we come together this morning, we pray that love will be one. We will find a way to come together not only within these walls, but outside, with those who agree with us and those who oppose us. We pray that we will have the wisdom and courage to know the meaning of your ways. Amen. Please remain seated for the hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
The mission and ministry of UU Wausau is made possible by the generous support of its friends and members. You can place a gift in the donation plate as it passes by. You can also visit our website, uuwausau.org, to make a one-time or recurring gift with your credit or debit card. Thank you so much for your support.
Well, good morning. And the reading is by a Wampanoag elder whose name is Manatangquat. The Wampanoag Indians resided in southeastern Massachusetts and down into Rhode Island. He writes, "Hear, O humankind, the prayer of my heart. For are we not one? Have we not one desire? To heal our Mother Earth and bind her wounds, to hear again from dark forests and flashing rivers the varied, ever-changing song of creation. O humankind, are we not all brothers and sisters? Are we not the grandchildren of the great mystery? Do we not all want to love and be loved, to work and to play, to sing and dance together? But we live with fear. Fear that is hate, fear that is mistrust, envy, greed, vanity, fear that is ambition and competition, aggression, fear that is loneliness, anger, bitterness, cruelty. And yet fear is only twisted love, love turned back on itself, love that was denied, love that was rejected. And love is life, creation, seed and leaf and blossom and fruit and seed. Love is growth and search and reach and touch and dance. Love is nurture and succor and feed and pleasure. Love is pleasuring ourselves, pleasuring each other. Love is life, believing in itself. And life? Life is the sacred mystery, singing to itself, dancing to its drum, telling tales, improvising, playing, and we are all that spirit. Our story is all but one cosmic story that we are love indeed. That perfect love in me seeks the love in you. And if our eyes could ever meet without fear, we would recognize each other and rejoice. For love is life believing in itself. Well, I want to thank you all for inviting me into this glorious cathedral of Unitarian Universalism, or Universalist Unitarianism, as you say. It puts me in mind of the Arlington Street Church in Boston. It sits on the corner of the Boston Public Garden, and right across the street is this large statue of William Ellery Channing, one of our founding prophets. And every summer, when it gets warm in the sanctuary, they open the front doors, and some poor unsuspecting seminarian climbs into the high pulpit and finds himself staring right into the face of William Ellery Channing. Much like the three prophets in the window up there. So I want to start with a reading by Dr. Reverend Dr. William Ellery Channing. It's from his essay on the perfecting power of religion. By what influence is religion our supreme good? Much mystery would be removed from the religious life if men would seek it more wisely and efficiently, if they understood with more precision the pure blessedness which it confers. On this point, my views may be expressed in a few words. My belief is that the supreme good of an intelligent and moral being is the perfection of its nature. Nothing gives what is worthy of being considered happiness, and nothing is of enduring benefit unless it exalts us to that excellence for which God designs us. Religion is the spring of peace and joy, as the inspirer of universal virtue. As preeminently a quickening principle, giving life and energy to the intellect and the heart, fortifying conscience, and animating it with an unconquerable purpose of duty, awakening love in its purest and most disinterested forms, raising thought to its highest objects, and thus training our whole being so that fullness, harmony, and beauty, the union of which constitutes perfection. Religion gives happiness by its inward influence. Too many ascribe it to a different operation. They regard it as a worship of God in order to win favor. They imagine that it serves and saves us by conciliating our Maker by its effect upon another, not upon ourselves, by its procuring good from abroad, not by its unfolding and elevating our own souls. Few indeed understand how essential is the growth of their own highest affections and energies, that without this nothing can do them good, and that to promote this is the great function of religion. The words of Reverend Dr. Ellery Channing. So when the United States was formed 236 years ago, a new form of government was introduced to the world. The Declaration of Independence was heavily influenced by the liberal philosophy of John Locke. The Constitution bears a striking resemblance to the great law of peace of the Iroquois Confederacy. Both of these documents seem to declare the purpose of government to be that of protecting the freedom of the citizen to live a life in pursuit of happiness. It held that every man should be able to make decisions for himself and his family, and the new government put its faith in the collective wisdom of its citizenry to guide its leaders. At least, that's how we remember it. In fact, there were in the early days of our republic those who advocated for the leadership of a more qualified class. In colonial Virginia, for instance, only white men in good standing in the Anglican Church could serve in public office, could join the military, could attend university. The governing philosophy of this culture derived from the polity of the Anglican Church, strict hierarchy descending from a single head. According to Reverend Forrest Church, it was a polity held predominantly in the Tidewater regions of Virginia and the Carolinas, and in New England, with its Calvinist tradition of holy predestination. Opposing this governing philosophy were the liberal ideas of John Locke, as they were advanced by Thomas Jefferson. That government be entrusted to the governed, or, in the case of larger populations, those elected by popular vote, who speak for the governed. Reverend Church proposes that support for this philosophy was predominant in the Middle Atlantic states, a more religiously tolerant and culturally diverse region, and the settlers of the western frontiers, to whom self-reliance was key to their survival. Of course, these philosophies overlap in the governing process written into the U.S. Constitution. Each man gets one vote. Each man decides how to use that vote based upon his experience, his self-interest, and his moral foundation. And now we have opened our vision to include the experiences, interests, and morals of women and the descendants of slaves. It is this moral foundation, informed by religious belief, that I'd like to dwell on a bit this morning. Maya Angelou wrote, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did. They will never forget how you made them feel." In the end, the appeal for our vote is an appeal to our emotions. Carl Jung wrote, "If our religion is based on salvation, our chief emotions will be fear and trepidation. If our religion is based on wonder, our chief emotion will be gratitude." Political campaigns seek to be remembered by how they make the voters feel. In these days, in most of our history, they focus on fear, which plays into the predominant theology of salvation. The predominant Christian theology in America is one where Adam fell from grace by allowing Eve to entice him into eating from the tree of knowledge, and they were banished from this earthly paradise by a punitive God. That fall from grace was then redeemed by the crucifixion of Jesus and the risen Christ. This theology was the foundation of the church created by the Council of Nicaea. Called by the Emperor Constantine, the council standardized Christian theology so principles of Roman administration could be applied for a more efficient franchise. The remnants of that power structure is known in Christian churches today as the episcopal polity, in which ordained priests control the church, and typically with one elected leader. Other polities that exist include the presbyter, which is led by non-ordained elders, and the congregational, which allows each congregation to decide its own course. Regardless of the form of polity, the theology of salvation prescribed by the Council of Nicaea presumes that there is one all-powerful being who will ultimately decide the fate of all individuals. Those raised under this theology are held in check by the thought that bad behavior will result in eternal damnation by the supreme being. After all, look what happened to Adam and Eve. It's no wonder that people live with fear and trembling as a base emotion. In my work as a hospice chaplain, many people refer to this model of eternity to describe their fate. Some with confidence, many with hope, a few with despair. Yet as a model for faith, it is all they have ever known, all they have ever heard within their communities, and it is presumed to be natural. But Carl Jung provides an alternative model for eternity. That is one in which we respond to the universe with awe. It is with wonder that we see the beauty of nature unfold before us. It is with astonishment that we look at our photos from orbiting telescopes of objects in the universe we can't dream of visiting. As we investigate the physiology of the living world, we are amazed how life manifests and perpetuates itself. We begin to place ourselves not at the bottom of a powerful hierarchy, but in the midst of a transformative flow of energy, which concentrates at our birth and releases at our death. And we become grateful for that brief span of consciousness that we get to experience. And perhaps we become hopeful that once the concentration of our bodily energy dissipates, our conscious energy continues on. This is how I choose to read the story of Adam and Eve. As the dawn of human consciousness, after eating from the tree of knowledge. And they were not cast out by a punitive God, but led out so they could see themselves as distinct beings in a living world. It's a spiritual path followed by many indigenous peoples around the world. And they live not in fear, but in gratitude. Grateful for the abundance of life that provides nourishment and well-being. As our life passes away from us, we are grateful for having known the experience. So how does this bring us to events currently unfolding in the world? The last 40 years have been a growing abscess of divisiveness in our politics. Fears have been manufactured and manifested by all parties to win the loyalty of their members and the votes of those who are indecisive. What has been building since before the days of the Tea Party has come to a head, unfolding into the most inhumane application of government in this country has seen since Jim Crow. It is a race to determine who will be the least fearful leader in our communities. Lies are spread. Disinformation and misinformation are euphemisms. They are lies. We are told that those who take chainsaws to federal programs are better decision makers than the single mom who must choose between buying her medicine and food for her baby. And at every level of everyday living, relationships are damaged and broken. Anger is spawned, distrust between neighbors, friends, and families are cultivated in a world driven by greed. In the world we envision, one informed by gratitude, relationship is our most precious possession. So I'd like to explore some of the dimensions of how this political ecosystem has damaged our communities. I've settled on 3 categories of reasons for our wounded relationships: circumstantial, philosophical, and existential. You may find more. You may find others. But this is what I came up with. Circumstantial reasons include that we disagree on policies and the data that informs policy choices. Presuming that we're all working towards the same goals, we may disagree on how to solve our problems. We may get our data from different sources, or we may disagree on the conclusions of that data. Another reason is that we disagree on the candidates and their qualification, or their integrity, or their experience. Evaluating people is a skill we develop as we mature. A candidate for leadership will play up their strengths. Their opponent will highlight their weaknesses. We often do not have all the information we would like, but our instincts can help us decide who we trust more. These 2 reasons have historically been the challenge points in every political election. For decades, we've disagreed on this level and come away with our relationships intact. But now there's something new. Now we live inside our own media bubbles too long. With so many choices to source our information, we tend towards those sources that reinforce our own beliefs or that make us less fearful. The result has been that we no longer draw different conclusions from the facts, but we use different facts to create our own truth. Living in different truths erodes the trust we need for healthy relationships. A couple of philosophical reasons. The first is that the philosophy of government should be minimal and reduce interfering with what people want to do. This laissez-faire approach is preferred by the free market capitalist entrepreneurs as it reduces barriers to new business development. It's also favored by libertarians who believe individuals should not be intimidated by government regulation. The downside fear is that those with power who do not take moral responsibility for the welfare of their communities and neighbors often thrive at the expense of others. A second choice is that government should provide for the least among us and create an equal playing field. That philosophy is founded on the Christian belief that we must care for the least among us and provide for their welfare. It depends upon the redistribution of wealth based on premise that wealth is never the result of individual effort and therefore must not accumulate so that one entity has an inordinate amount of power. The downside fear is that individuals will spend more time gaming the system than actually adding value to their communities. A third philosophy is that government should be a balancing agency between those who want to live simply and those with great aspirations. Think of the individual versus the corporation, labor versus capital. Adam Smith wrote that corporations exist to support the common good. But between corporate shareholders and stakeholders, the common good may be differently understood. And so government becomes the forum in which differences can be settled. It is incumbent in this model that all parties have equal access to the decision-making process. So these political philosophies are studied and debated as the underlying understanding of our American form of government, and political parties attract those who agree with whatever platform they stand on. At our highest levels, differences in philosophy have resulted in epic political battles. But the individuals held high respect for each other. As an example, I would offer Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan. However, in recent years, there's another philosophy that's been seeping into the national conversation, that there's no reason for government at all. Anarchy is, and everyone from self-formless government, which often descends into chaos. It's an unsettled state in which power is most often attained through violence. Anarchy is almost always resolved by a benevolent monarchy, which then dissolves into tyranny. We may be shortcutting that process. And then finally, there are existential reasons for our damaged relationships. Demographic changes are threatening the entrenched power structure that was built on racial and ethnic differences. The U.S. Census Bureau predicts that white-skinned people will be a minority in America by 2045. The New York Times recently published data that white males without a college education have experienced a notable decrease in their wealth-making capacity compared to college-educated women of color. Segments of our inherently racist society are in full rebellion. There are deep fears that are now being experienced and expressed. Another one is that concentrated wealth is disenfranchising masses of people from being able to make decisions for themselves. Vast majority of people are feeling a loss of control over their lives due to the concentration of wealth in a few hands. Available Medicare is determined not by medical professionals, but by actuaries working for the insurance company. Pharmaceutical therapy is determined not by your physician, but by pharmacy benefits managers. Available health benefits are a collaboration between your employer, who wants to cut costs, and the insurance company, who wants to maximize profits. Automated customer service programs prevent users from talking to actual people. Many websites no longer provide phone numbers. And the chat session is almost always with a robot who can't discern inquiries with any degree of subtlety. What was once free must now be paid for. The CEO of Nestle, the world's largest bottler of water, contends that no one should expect to be able to get potable water for free. It seems like if you can no longer prove economic viability, the world believes your life is over. And how our planet's being damaged for wealth production is my next series of sermons. There are large segments of our society who live with some level of hopelessness and despair. Okay, so I'm sure I've strayed a bit from my original thesis, but I'm going to bring this home by reflecting on how our UU values can help us to heal the wounds and bring us back into balance. Our values center on love, and love is the power that brings us together. So no matter how large the breach in your valued relationships, love will help in its restoration. First and foremost, you must be able to express what you value about your relationship. Acknowledge the wound, suggest a path to reconciliation. If the differences are circumstantial, offer your friend humility and speak honestly. If you seek common ground, differences of opinion can actually strengthen a relationship. There's a dialogue in the series West Wing that's always stuck with me. It's between President Bartlett and Senator Lobel. And Bartlett says, "We agree on nothing, Max." Lobel says, "Yes, sir. Education, guns, drugs, school prayer, gays, defense spending, taxes, you name it, we disagree. Do you know why? Because I'm a lily-livered, bleeding-heart, liberal, egghead communist." "Yes, sir." "And I'm a gun-toting, redneck sumbitch." "Yes, you are." "Well, we agree on that." Our philosophical differences are the playing field for political debate. It helps us to be able to speak to the basic understanding of why we have government. I'm not a political scientist, and there are advanced degrees programs that enters in all the nuances of American politics, but not many of us are. And every 2 years, we're asked to evaluate the political philosophies of candidates, either consciously or unconsciously. And sometimes I wonder whether the candidates can even articulate their own philosophy beyond who's going to give me the most money. But identifying the playing field is always the best way to begin a game. And this brings us to our deepest wounds. Our existential differences are driven by our deepest fears and our most profound moral understandings. Many of us are unconscious of these fears, and yet when they are called upon in political rhetoric, we respond. In the progressive world, we are cognizant of the need to transform our communities so that every individual has a chance to thrive. The conservative world would drag its feet to keep us on the rails. This is a good, solid tension in our politics. But there are those so firmly embedded in the hierarchical realm of salvation theology that they will resist existential change with all they have, who are so stuck in the stories that define our culture they cannot tolerate the thought that they must accept new knowledge from any other source, who are so entrenched in the unearned privilege and power they've received from the chance of their birth that they must invoke the authority of God to justify themselves. And they are so amoral in their faith that they have no qualms retuning the bass notes of our culture so that they can hold on to power. They play the song of damnation and salvation as if it was the song of the universe. On the other hand, there are those who seek to be unbound by the chains of community norms and customs, those who believe they should be allowed to engage in any activity that serves their needs without regards to, or perhaps ignorant of, the effect it has on others, who believe that to affect their view of what the world can be, the current structure must be completely dismantled. They come with lofty visions and few ideas on a reasonable path to achieve those visions. They seek a revolution in who possesses power, but seldom consider that power itself must be transformed. We as Unitarian Universalists are playing a different song. One more in tune with our gratitude for the awesomeness of creation as we have yet to imagine. We are committed to rebuild our culture on love-centered values, telling stories of a loving God and original grace, and by proclaiming profound gratitude for the universe that we find ourselves in. We offer transformative ideas and attitudes based on an envisioned hope of a world where justice and equity coexist. We are tolerant of all responsible belief systems. We recognize the abundance of this world, and we are generous in its distribution. And we value all life as cohabitants of this planet, not just as resources for our own use. Reverend Channing writes that religion is awakening love in its purest and most disinterested forms, thus training our whole beings into that fullness, harmony, and beauty, the union of which constitutes perfection. Religious communities are institutions where we form and keep our vision of perfect community. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King held up the beloved community. Jesus taught us to pray, thy kingdom come on earth. Our ideal community, where every living spirit can be fully developed and thrive, is here, in this place, at this time. We don't wait for someone to come and save us. We don't wait for some imagined heaven. We don't wait for a time beyond time. We simply strive to awaken to the world we are already in. And now it is time for us to proclaim our values in the public square, to counter the stories of dominance and obeisance. It is time for us to offer a narrative of abundance and restoration as an alternative to the narrative of scarcity and retribution. A rejection of a world controlled by a dominant few in favor of a world where each spirit can thrive in fulfillment of its own destiny. An ancient Hindu prayer reads, "Yesterday is but a dream and tomorrow only a vision. But today, well lived, will make every yesterday a dream of happiness and every tomorrow a vision of hope." We are a faith of wonder and awe, proclaiming our vision of love. Let us live well every day. Let us embrace Menetanquat's vision of life believing in itself when we look each other in the eye and without fear, but with wonder. This is how we heal ourselves, our relationships, our communities, our world. This is the path that leads us to the land that already is. Are we ready to set out on that path? Are we ready to make it so? Amen. And blessed be. Our closing hymn is number 1018 in the Teal hymnal, "Come and Go With Me." Thank you. So now, go out into the world in peace, have courage, hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted, support the weak, help the suffering, honor all beings, and open your heart to the unfolding love. Live the loving community in the land that we already call home. Come with me. We'll go together. We'll invite the world.